Hey, welcome back, Bears fans, to this Friday edition of the CHGO Bears Podcast. What is going on? I hope you are as excited as I am for this in-depth weekly game preview by yours truly, Will DeWitt, Nicholas Moreano here to dissect and preview the battle between two bad blue and orange teams, one from the AFC, one from the NFC. Someone maybe will walk away with a win. There is still that potential of a tie. I just want to throw that out here. You never know. But regardless, I'm excited to be back behind the mic here to give you this game preview. I know Nick is as well. But what's going on, Nick? Loving the stash, by the way.
Appreciate it, Will. I decided to change things up, and hopefully the Bears follow suit this week and try to get some changes going on with that football team. But like you said, one of these teams is going to come out of potentially a victor unless they tie. But I didn't know that the Minnesota Vikings and Carolina Panthers also, I think, play each other, and they're both 0-4. So it's like a bunch of matchups between winless teams. So this will be exciting.
Yeah, all these teams like being like, I think you said 4, but we're almost getting ahead of ourselves. 0-3, we're almost there. But I know what you meant. Regardless, who knows how the Bears will shape up at the end of this one. We'll try to give you our best bet in terms of what to expect from this Bears team. I think it's difficult to gauge, and we'll talk about why throughout the entirety of this episode. But just to give you a rundown, that way you know what to expect. We're going to begin by sharing our keys to success on both sides of the ball, determine who has the edge, share some weekly X factors, bold predictions, and a whole lot more. And I see a lot of people already in the chat here. I just want to say hello and welcome in to everybody here, like Alfredo and Ravi. Nicholas is also in here. Nagy's in here per usual. Alex, just want to say hey to everybody. Love seeing you here already. And I know more people will trickle in as we get throughout this show. Make sure to give this video a like as we kind of get started. But Nick, you know where this is going to go. Bears Broncos. What's your one-liner, one-worder as we kind of set the preface for this episode?
Now or never is going to be my one-liner for this game, because I think that's, if you look at it after this game, the potential for a Bears victory kind of seems bleak. But now or never is how I'm going to preface or how I'm going to start this show and how I'm kind of viewing this matchup with the 0-3 Denver Broncos.
I like it. You're expounding a little bit here. I know you've been going with the one-worders. Last week I used a sound. So I'm going to try to work my way back up too. And honestly, Nick, the more I dove into the matchup and just this game in general, very underwhelming matchup, although I understand the opportunity really for both teams, but for our case and our perspective, the Bears and their hopes of maybe righting the ship, turning the tide, whatever metaphor you want to throw in here. But my one-liner is, at least when it came to this preview, do we have to?
Yeah. I mean, that's perfect, right? I mean, for this matchup, I wouldn't even be surprised if, there's a bunch of games going on at noon. This is the last one you're going to watch, unless you are a diehard Chicago Bears fan. You're just kind of forced to watch it because you think something's going to change. But yeah, I love that.
How long until Fox is like, is it? Like pull the plug. Let's move on. Is it on Fox? Is it CBS? I don't even know.
Honestly, I haven't even checked. But
insert local broadcast channel here.
Yes, I think maybe because both these teams are at the bottom of the barrel in terms of record, how they're playing, everything. Maybe we'll actually see a game that doesn't get out of hand, if that makes sense. Because the last two, like Bears Chiefs, that got out of hand. Broncos Dolphins, that got out of hand. So maybe they're kind of on a similar playing level that they'll actually be competitive. We'll see. We're going to get into this matchup to find out.
All right, let's just do the thing, Nick. I feel like we're both like dilly-dallying a bit, not really wanting to dive into all the nitty-gritty details, but this is what we're here for. This is what we're going to do, and we're going to have some fun along the way. So we'll begin with our keys to success with the Chicago Bears offense, and I feel like, we're going to give 6. They probably need 10, just how they've been playing right now. But, Nick, I'll go to you for your first key. What is it?
Yeah, so the first thing I have here, and I just have it titled Stay on Track. And what I mean by that is just, it's in reference to what Roschon Johnson was saying earlier in the week. It was about a run play where 2nd and 7 and ended up being a no gain when it could have been maybe an explosive play. But really, it's just those details, right? We've been hearing it, whether it's, right after in post-game press conference or on the Monday following a game, you either hear from Eberflus, some of the players, Justin Fields, that, we were just a couple details off. So for this game against a bad opponent that's been struggling defensively, get those details right so we don't have to keep hearing how you almost had 7 or 8 explosive plays like Luke Getsy mentioned in Thursday's press conference that could have been, big plays for his Bears offense. But again, the little details prevented Bears from capitalizing on those moments. So whether that's on the players themselves not taking what's being coached and putting it on the practice or putting it on the football field, or the coaches themselves not coaching to their best extent, like whatever needs to happen, stay on track, get those details right, and let's see if those explosive plays can actually happen. If offensive execution can look somewhat just normal,
competent,
yeah. Perfect. Yeah, no, I think if you could do that, then maybe we'll actually have a football game, because there's been so many times already through 3 games where that has not been the case. So stay on track, get the details right, and maybe, again, we'll have a football game here.
Yeah, I like that one a lot. And the big issue, before I get to my key, just to expound on yours a little bit more, is the fact that, like, depending on the week, depending on the game, really depending on the drive, maybe even play, we've seen everything go wrong for the Bears. It could be lack of the quarterback making the correct read, the correct throw, receivers not getting open downfield, and that can go with coaching, play calling, like you said, actually doing what they're practicing and putting on the game day. We've seen it all go wrong. And so they need to all be on the same page, executing as one, which is a perfect segue and lead into my first key, which is just gained separation. And, we kind of knew, and it's been talked about throughout the week, but when you put on the film of last week's game, the Bears just had a hard time separating from defenders. And Fields had time, but last week he just had a hard time really finding anybody open. DJ Moore's average separation per route run was only 1.3 yards. That was tied for the second lowest of all receivers last week that had at least 5 targets. And when you just keep watching how defenses are going up against this Bears offense, they're not afraid of these wide receivers making big plays down the field. They're going to play near the line of scrimmage and just kind of dare the Bears and those wide receivers to try to beat us over the top, try to make a play downfield, because the Bears haven't been hitting those right now. And we've seen it all year when it comes to problems on offense. I mentioned all of the issues. We can add in the offensive line inconsistencies as well, but the Bears need better play calling. They need better overall energy and effort. Luke Getsy needs to do a better job of scheming guys open. Give me some rub routes. Let's get some traffic in place, put some DBs in conflict. And if they just allow the DBs to go out there and win one-on-one matchups and be like, well, you know what? Hey, they're better than us. Nothing that we can do. The Bears, like you said, Nick, they're going to struggle a lot again on offense. And it is possible for the Bears to move the football through the air against this defense. I took out the Miami game. If those stats were so insane, if you take those into consideration, given the fact that there's only been 3 games played, those are disgusting numbers. So let's just look at weeks 1 and 2 for the Broncos, because we all know the Bears are not at the level of the Miami Dolphins and that offense. But over those first 2 weeks, they had 4 defensive backs that allowed at least 12.6 yards per reception, an average depth of target over 11 yards, and passer ratings of 122.3 and higher. So the Bears really need to find a way to separate. Fields must take those throws downfield when they're available. And as I said, to kind of begin the key, I'll end it the same way. Everyone needs to be on the same page and playing in unison.
I like that a lot, Will. And just kind of go back to what you were saying, the game plan against the Chiefs, like you watch it and, there's been a lot of former quarterbacks or, guys that break down the film that have also agreed, like there just wasn't many opportunities for Justin Fields to actually find open receivers based off maybe the route concept or whatever it was. So, Getsy definitely needs to put a better game plan in place this game. And again, against a struggling Broncos defense. We'll go to my second key here, and I just have it titled, Get That Yak, yards after catch here. And look, I was looking at how, the Dolphins were able to do that against this Broncos defense. And there were so many missed tackles in that game, Will. It was, I don't know if I've seen a worse tackling performance than that one, because at all 3 levels, you had defensive linemen, linebackers, secondary, all missing tackles. And I think it's because, and we were able to talk to the Bears assistant coaches yesterday. Tyke Tolbert was saying, he was asked, what did you see from that game? And he said he saw a defense that recognized there was a lot of speed on the field. Yep. And I think with that thought process, these defenders just were not ready for whoever was getting in the open field, making plays, making guys miss. But I think the Bears do have some capable playmakers, not to the extent of the Dolphins, but in space that they can actually make guys miss, get yards after the catch. We haven't seen a lot of opportunities like that this season, but DJ Moore has had a knack for making guys miss. We know he can do that. He needs more opportunities too. Darnell Mooney, I think, is another capable guy. So I think in this game for Fields, get the ball out quickly, even though the Broncos pass rush hasn't been very good at all this season, but get the ball to your playmakers and let's see what they can do in space, because there was just so many missed tackles. And just like the Bears are working on the fundamentals, I know that Broncos defense is going back to the straight up fundamentals. Here's how to tackle. Here's how you bring a guy down, because they were atrocious at it against the Dolphins. So yards after the catch, get the ball out to your playmakers, see what can happen.
Don't you think the Bears have enough speed to present similar problems? And I'm not saying we have a Tyreek Hill and a Waddle on this team, and I know the running backs in Miami are also very fast, but I remember throughout this offseason, at least on social media, like people were sharing graphics that were made about like all the Bears 40 times on this offense and like how fast this unit was supposed to be. And they're not tapping into it, or at least making it a matchup advantage for the Bears. But maybe this could be the week in which they can get it right.
Yeah, I mean, look, the Bears do have some speed on offense, but I just don't think they utilize it in the right way. Like Tyler Scott's a burner. Darnell Mooney has speed. Even Chase Claypool is pretty fast for his size, but like it just doesn't seem like the Bears really emphasize that speed, and defenses don't have to respect it. And quite frankly, they haven't had to the first 3 weeks. So whatever you need to do schematically, gameplay design, route concepts, make this Denver Broncos defense have to respect it. They just haven't had to. So I think they have speed, and maybe they can actually capitalize on a couple plays here in this game.
Yeah, make them defend every inch of the field. I think would be a great way to keep the stress on this defense. Again, they haven't been playing great, but the way the Bears offense has been playing, who knows who's going to have the edge in this matchup? Maybe we do. We'll talk about that later in the episode. My second key, simple, yet very important. Win the line of scrimmage. If there's any chance at the Bears passing game taking off, the offensive line, they're going to need to win their matchups up front and limit the pressure on Justin Fields. And this is a unit, the Denver Broncos is a unit like the Bears. They fail to get a lot of pressure on quarterbacks. Through 3 weeks, they only have 9 total pressures from the interior defensive line and 15 total pressures coming off the edges. Their top pass rusher this year, Nick Bonito, he only has 7 pressures, which is tied for 81st in the NFL. There are 80 players with more pressures than the top Broncos guy. Only 4 sacks as a unit. Sunday is not the day for the Bears to let the Broncos defense find its pass rush. But of course, winning the line of scrimmage is more than just pass blocking. The Bears need to do a much better job at rushing the football. It's been one of my keys last week. I mentioned it the week before that as well. And I'm just looking for much more from the Bears on the ground. Only 69 yards from running backs last week on 15 combined carries, which isn't bad. That's over 4 yards per carry, but most of those chunk plays came way after the Bears were down bad. So I'm going to take it with a big grain of salt. But the Broncos are a defense that you can run on. They give up the most rushing yards per game, 177. But let's look into that number 2. That's skewed. They gave up 350 yards on the ground last week. So if we look at the first 2 weeks, they give up about 91.5 on average. So I still think you can run on them. I don't think the Bears are going to run for 350 on them, but there is a defense that you can push back, opening up some rushing lanes, and just keep pounding the rock. So the Bears established a run. In order for that to happen, win the line of scrimmage, generate push, reach that second level, and just wear down that Broncos front 7. I think they can do it here. And again, also in pass protection, how important it is for Justin Fields and his offense to stay on time, on rhythm, and really do everything we talked about in both of our first 2 keys, Nick. So my second key is just win the battles up front, win that line of scrimmage.
It'd be helpful. I'm looking at the Broncos injury report right now, and this is as of Thursday, so we'll get one later today. But yeah, Frank Clark, the outside linebacker, Josie Jewell, the interior linebacker, and Mike Purcell all DNPs for Thursday. That'll definitely help them being able to rush the football if they're missing some starters out on defense. But I completely agree with you there, Will. We'll go to my last key on offense for the Bears, and I just have it as attack, MOF, and that stands for middle of field. And I think, again, there were a lot of opportunities the Dolphins had in last week's matchup, but, just even when the Bears haven't had a lot of rushing attempts all season, but even doing simple play action, putting your back towards the defense, that the linebackers have to respect that. They're going to move a little bit. If they go back because they know there's no threat of the run, they'll get back to their pass steps, their zones. That's fine. But if you can manipulate these guys a little bit, and you have Justin Fields, they still have to respect him and his legs. I think there's going to be opportunities in the middle of the field to attack this Broncos defense. Of course, the one throw that Justin Fields has over the middle of the field gets intercepted because he's trying to hit. I think it's Chase Claypool on the in route. He had Cole Kmet over on a little hitch. I liked what he was thinking of trying to do, but it was a good play by Reed on there, number 20. But I think there's going to be some opportunities to do that, and you just can't get so – actually, Will, you said it perfectly. Make the defense play the entire field, right? You have to do that because if you just take these shots down the sidelines, again, you're limiting, the types of throws, and you're also not stressing every single defender out there. You're stressing maybe the cornerback that's one-on-one with the wide receiver, but you need to get everybody on this Broncos defense to feel like they can be attacked. Okay, so I think if they can do that, have a little bit more in the game plan in terms of attacking the middle of the field, maybe you're just going to have more opportunities for those. Go to my second key, those yards after the catch, and just, again, staying on track with the details, kind of putting it all, encapsulating it here. But again, those are my keys. Whether the Bears can actually execute them, that's a whole different story, Will.
Yep, it really is. The Duke had a really good super chat that just kind of builds off of your key here. Said, get the ball out quick, but enough with the boundary crap. Defenses aren't covering the middle of the field because they know Getsy only knows how to go horizontal. I mean, we've seen it all year. It's slants and seam routes would be so refreshing. I remember, against the Packers, we got DJ Moore in a nice slant in the red zone. I was able to actually gain yards and had separation, room to operate. It's remarkable how simple, if you keep it simple, how things can kind of build. I think this is a really good point made over here by the Duke. My final key is bigger than just X's and O's. It's simply stay loose, because with 3 losses straight to start this season, everybody in that building is feeling immense pressure. Even if in these press conferences, everyone's appearing all even keel on the surface, it's just a human condition to feel pressure when you're not performing at your job. And really right now, in many ways, a lot of these people are failing at it. So it's really unavoidable, but they need to use this pressure and channel it into positive motivation. The Bears must avoid the feeling of collapsing under pressure. So I'm just going to put a key this week for them to stay loose, stay the course, because it can get ugly pretty quick. If you come out for a few 3-and-outs, Nick, back-to-back 3-and-outs to start this game, the boo birds are coming out. I know Carm's like, don't boo Justin Fields, and I agree, no reason to boo the man, but you know that that's going to happen, and you can't let it deter you. You got to block out that noise, focus really what's in your own control. And I'm not saying overlook the Broncos, but I really hope that this team, the Bears, don't enter the week with a victim mindset, or else it's going to be over before this game even begins. They must actually believe that, hey, this is a winnable game here for us. Fields needs to remain loose and free, wanting to push that football down the field. Same thing with Getsy, loose with his play calling. Don't overcomplicate things. Don't overthink it. I put the KISS method in here in my notes too, right? Keep it simple, stupid. If the Bears get in their own heads, I don't think they're going to play up to their potential. They're going to make crucial mistakes. And really, they're going to struggle against a defense that they should be able to score on. And when it's all said and done. So for the Bears, it's, don't overcomplicate things in your head, and honestly just find a way to stay loose and not crumble under the pressure of starting the season 0-3. Because I know that Soldier Field, depending on how many fans show up for this game, I feel like it could get hostile pretty quick.
If they go 3-and-out on their first offensive possession, you will hear the boo birds. I guarantee it. If it is a 3-and-out, you gain maybe a yard on the drive or whatever it is, I guarantee it. I hope that's not the case. So again, there's a lot of opportunities to attack this Broncos defense. Just I'm like remembering last year. Well, we were at these games. We were seeing Justin Fields run all over defenses that were bad, and like it was still fun. But this obviously is a whole different story. But I don't know. I just had this. I was just reflecting on my drive back from the gym. And I'm like, come on, that Justin Fields is still in there somewhere, and the passing is going to get here, but we just need to see it, man. We need to see it.
In order to get there again, this Bears offense has to be able to attack defenses in different ways because they're spying Justin. They have someone just watching him at all times because right now the biggest threat, and we haven't even seen it yet this season, is Justin Fields and his legs. I think they know that. They're shutting it down. They're forcing Justin and Getsy in this offense to just find ways to beat you elsewhere, and it's not happening. So it makes the defense's job so easy. And I'm tired as a Bears fan and watching this team, no matter who's quarterback, who's offensive coordinator, who's your head coach, where defenses do this. Defenses dictate how we operate our offense. And it's something that we've been talking about on our podcast for years. And it needs to change. And it did a little bit last year. And we saw what happened. But the defenses adapted. They had a whole offseason to scout it. And now it's our turn to combat those adjustments. It hasn't worked yet. Hopefully it does here soon. But if it doesn't, it's going to be hard to let that Justin be that Justin because defenses are just going to sell out to stop it.
Yeah, no doubt. And we have Daniel here. It's only been 3 games. The Bears could get better. The defense could get better. I have to believe that things can improve. I get that. And it seems hard to almost believe it at this point because of how bad it's been everywhere on this football team. But I'm glad to know that some people still have that belief. You talk to all the coaches, of course, they're not going to say, I don't believe in this team, but they all say we believe that we're close to the turnaround on offense. This is the game to see how close you truly are. If you can't, like I said, now or never at the top, if it doesn't happen here, I have no idea. But that's how I'll end the offensive talk here.
Yeah, can we stop this? And honestly, I need a break. I need to breathe for a moment, and then we can talk about this Bears defense that, Nick, it doesn't get much better on that side of the ball, and injuries aren't helping, and we'll dive into all of it. But first, let's take our first time out. And Nick, I'll go over to you with our first message, and then I'll jump in right after.
Yeah, I have to tell everybody about Ray CDJR. Are you in the market for a new vehicle? If you are, then we have some great news for you. Ray, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram in Fox Lake, of course, have joined the CHGO team at Ray CDJR. You'll always be able to shop one of Chicagoland's largest inventories and find unforgettable savings, or unforgettable. And right now, during Jeep Adventure Days at Ray CDJR in Fox Lake, you'll be able to take up to 15% off MSRP on all new 2023 Jeep Gladiator models. That's always exciting. But that's not all. And you still actually have a day now through September 30th. Explore their newly renovated showroom and take advantage of breathtaking deals as they celebrate their new grand reopening. So if you're in the market for a new vehicle, then you have to check out the team at Ray, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram because they're the only team we recommend here at CHGO. So visit them today on Route 12 in Fox Lake. For more information, visit Ray CDJR in Fox Lake or raycdjr.com today, serving the community since 1963.
All right. I want to let everyone know about FOCO. FOCO gets you fitted out in the best sports gear around. You definitely need to check them out. I was just looking at things that I would want. We're getting close to the holiday season, right? We have a Chicago Bears cutting board. I'm just saying, they have some awesome stuff. They have those bibs that I mentioned. I've been seeing some people wear over at the tailgates. Those bibs are awesome. They have the ugly sweaters are coming back, some Justin Fields bobbleheads, Staley, the mascot bobblehead, and just some cool things like that. Sunglasses, hats, every accessory you can ever imagine. So even if the Bears aren't playing well, you can look good in your Bears gear or any other sports team of your choice by visiting foco.com. They have so many awesome things. As I mentioned, I'd even bring up the one that I've been waiting for, friendship bracelets. Buy some Bears friendship bracelets. It's a 3-pack. Give them to me and Nick at the tailgate, and we can all be best friends forever. And also, if we were in the studio right now, you'll see some amazing set decorations because they've donated a few awesome pieces for those sets. So I would appreciate if you can go show them some love. Check out foco.com, or you can click the link in the description below. That's both here on YouTube and your podcast player of choice. For all non-presale items, use promo code CHGO, and that's going to unlock you 10% off. Again, foco.com, code CHGO. 10% off all non-presale items. All right, this is the CHGO Bears Podcast. It's an Audible day. Will DeWitt and Nicholas Moreano here giving you our weekly in-depth Chicago Bears game preview. We are diving deep into all the keys of success for the Chicago Bears this week. We gave you our 3 each on offense. It's now time to go over to the Bears defense. Nick, I know you took the first half and you received it and you went with your first key, but guess what? It's an odd day. You're going to go again here first. What's your first key on defense?
Yeah, let's go here. I think every single Bears defender, whoever plays in this game, needs to just embrace and embody the peanut punch in this game and try to force those turnovers, you guys. And you look at the Bears defense last week, technically they did get their first turnovers, but they were on Blaine Gabbert, backup quarterback getting intercepted. So scratch those. The Bears are still searching for their true first turnover here. And I think that when you look at the game that the Broncos had against the Dolphins, Courtland Sutton, really good receiver, could not hang on to that football though. Well, there are a couple of opportunities where the Broncos are driving down the field. Bam, some defenders coming and just taking their fist, putting it right on the football and knocking it out. But that needs to be the mindset for everybody here. And I know Matt Eberflus has talked about the linebackers and saying that, yes, they need to lower their tackling, but they also need to be at every single attempt trying to punch that football out. I think we know that Tremaine Edmonds and TJ Edwards are capable of doing that. We have not seen it on this Bears defense, but they're capable of doing those things. I just think that regardless of who's the ball carrier, where the ball ends up on the field, every single Bears defender needs to have that mindset. Like one guy wraps up, one guy's going for the football. We've seen it so many times in the Lovie Smith days, how successful that can be. And, this is supposed to be some kind of version of that with Eberflus. Obviously, it has not been that to any extent on defense, but you need to look for those turnovers. You need to want those turnovers. And the Bears just through 3 games have not done that. So I want to see guys punching after the football, especially knowing that, the Broncos were willing to give it up. And, quite frankly, the Bears did. Khalil Herbert did the same thing against the Chiefs. So I think both teams are going to come out trying to punch the football out.
See, I really like your key. I almost think I like Brian S's in the chat a little bit better. Brian Schuster, first key on defense, ... try. I thought about doing something about that here this week. I mean, the lack of effort has been concerning. So I think Brian's very much on point with his key on defense. I wanted to give that some love here. And to go straight into my first key on this side of the ball is just overcome the injuries in the secondary. It looks like, and again, we'll get the final injury report here. I doubt before the show's over, but if it does come out, we'll definitely relay that information. But as it looked like yesterday, the Bears will be without Josh Blackwell, Eddie Jackson, and Jalen Johnson this week. And for a defense that allows the 3rd most passing yards per game at 285.7, the 2nd most yards per completion at 12.6, and the 4th highest passer rating at 110.9, already down Kyler Gordon, man, it's just going to be really tough sledding for the Bears. And I know they've been battling injuries in the secondary basically since training camp, and it's just made it so difficult for the back end of this defense to find any sort of consistency, which makes all their jobs so much more challenging. And the Broncos, they do have weapons. Courtland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, Marvin Mims. I don't know if you know this, Nick, but Mims has 7 catches on the year, and he's averaging 27.9 yards per catch. Oh, man, the Broncos are going to want to give him chances over the top of this defense, especially without any pass rush, especially without Eddie Jackson. So no matter which way you slice it, I think the Bears are going to be mismatched here. I can't look at any single one-on-one matchup between Broncos receivers and the Bears defensive backs and say, you know what? That's a good one here for the Bears. Like I can't find a single one across the board. Every player that is expected to play on Sunday in the secondary, besides Brisker, by the way, has also given up a pass rating over 100 this year. So every player that I expect to see for the Bears playing on defense, when targeted, quarterbacks are having a heyday on them so far. So it's going to be critical for the Bears just to find ways to honestly play out their gourds a little bit here and overcome these injuries. Kind of like that Minnesota game a couple of years back, Nick, where all the starters in the secondary had to go out, whether it be injuries or COVID, I believe, that year. But the backups came in under the lights and stepped up in a very big way for the Bears. So I'm just tired of having opponents have wide open opportunities with people sitting, getting out of their area, not communicating. The Bears are just being too soft in their zone. Maybe, and I forgot who put it in the chat earlier, but maybe it's time to try a little man coverage. It's not that hard. Me versus you, maybe you have a safety or two over the top to help out, but just sitting back and watching receivers just gobble up yards underneath and then break tackles afterwards and get bigger plays to the yards after contact and after the catch. I'm tired of seeing it. These injuries aren't going to help, and the Bears DBs are just going to have to step up.
Yeah, if the Bears don't have Jalen Johnson in this game, that is really concerning. PFF put his stats out there: 12 targets, 5 receptions allowed. So he's been really good. And you go back to the first drive of the Chiefs game. Guy was, that was the one drive the Bears did well defensively. And you know why? Jalen Johnson was a part of 2 of the bigger plays on that drive. But yeah, that's going to be, hopefully we see the injury report come out here soon and Jalen Johnson's trending in the right direction, but we'll see here. My second key on defense, I just have rush with a plan, because right now, it rush with intent too. Like, it's just the front 4 for the Bears, whoever it is out there, where they go the first wave, second wave of guys, nothing is being consistent or actually generating pressure on opposing quarterbacks. And, Eberflus had an interesting comment earlier in the week saying that, when we execute our stunts or twists, we need to do it as, one unit, not as individuals. I was talking to Zach Pickens on Wednesday and asked him what's kind of going on with this defensive line right now. And he said it like, we're rushing as individuals, not as a unit that's supposed to work off of each other. And again, why is that happening? Aren't you being coached to rush as like a unit? So this front 4, and even look, the Bears defense has been wide open in the middle of the field. If it's going to be wide open with the linebackers in coverage, just bring them on the blitz then. If it's going to be open, bring them on a blitz.
I like it.
Just do it. Like Tremaine Edmonds or TJ Edwards, just get out of that vanilla defense we saw against the Chiefs and go back to kind of what you were doing against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I know there's different level. Obviously, Baker Mayfield, Patrick Mahomes, way different quarterbacks. But the standard rush 4, drop back and zone coverage, you're getting picked apart by everybody right now because that front 4 is not getting home. So whether you need to be better with your individual rushes as a group, or you just need to start bringing the blitz, there needs to be a better plan in place. And Eberflus, now being the defensive play caller, needs to be better, Will. And I know he wants he would rather be the guy that controls the defense, calls it, because that, I think he said, is gives the team the best opportunity right now. We need to start seeing it. And doing that vanilla shit is not working. So you need to change up the game plan and rush with a plan when you're doing so.
I like that a lot. And it's just a great point about just changing things up. And we talked a lot about, and I know you're in the chat, Matt, and I'm sorry, but the previous regime being so stubborn, right? And now it's similar with this Bears defense. I understand Flus came in, he has an identity, he has a defensive system, but it's not working. And it hasn't worked since he's gotten here at all. It's way too soft. It's way too passive. Opponents know how to attack it. We see it every single week. You have to show them something different, whether it be extra rushers, whether it be a mixture of switching over to a man coverage, which I still think could really help this defense. Regardless, playing cover 2, playing cover 4, and just sitting back 10 yards and allowing them just to carve you up inside, or just those big gaping holes between the linebackers and the safeties, or the corners and the safeties. It's the same thing every single week. And it needs to stop. And if it doesn't stop, it's going to be a long day for the Bears. Because as I mentioned, my first key, the Broncos do have weapons. They can be a formidable offense. They're not like the Bears have been an offense. They're somewhere in the middle, which the middle is still plenty enough to, as we know, affect this Bears defense, how they've currently been playing. All right, let's get into my second key here for this Bears defense, which is win crucial situations. And so insert my weekly rant about third downs and red zone trips here. If the Bears want to come away with the win, they need to dig down deep, try and win these situations. It's really not rocket science. You fail on third down, they're going to reach the red zone. You fail in the red zone, they're going to score touchdowns. You do this enough, and you're going to lose every single week, especially if your offense can't put up 20 points or more. So far this year, the Bears are the 4th worst red zone defense, giving up touchdowns on 75% of those trips. They also give up, and this is damning, the 4th worst in terms of efficiency, but they give up the 2nd most red zone trips per game. That's a huge double whammy here for the Bears. You go down more than 30 other teams and you give it up more than 28 more teams, you know you're in for giving up a ton of points on offense. And Nick, just letting you know, the Bears are back to dead last and third down defense. 60% conversion rate. It's still a death sentence over here. The Broncos, they enter the game 24th in the NFL on third down, which is very similar to where the Chiefs were last week, but we know how that all fared for the Bears. The Bears really just stunk it up yet again. The Broncos were 25th in red zone offense, converting touchdowns on 45% of those trips. But what worries me, Nick, is the fact that the Broncos actually get into the red zone the 9th most in the NFL, 3.7 trips per game. So they're pretty good at moving the ball, getting into scoring position, and the Bears are awful at making stops and keeping teams out of the end zone once they get inside the 20. It seems like, to me, it just seems like the writing's already on the wall. If nothing changes for this Bears defense, that we'll see the Broncos get to the red zone. Russ is going to cook, and he's going to score some touchdowns. So for me, if there's any chance of winning this game, the first victory you need to have is on these crucial situations, third down, red zone on defense.
Yeah, well, and actually what you phrased it, don't let Russ cook. Like, that's my third key. You can't let him cook here in this game, you guys. If look, Russell Wilson and this Broncos offense, like you said, middle, but even in that game against the Dolphins, they were moving the football at times, and then there were just costly turnovers. There was a weird interception where he threw it off somebody's helmet. It gets intercepted by the defensive lineman. You have the 2 fumbles as they're moving the ball downfield. Like, this offense looks way better than it did, a year ago under Nathaniel Hackett and now under Sean Payton. And look, I think Sean Payton's looking at this opportunity like, all right, this is my get right game. Let's get right and, get our first win of the season. Just like how we, I phrased it for the Chiefs. This is going to be their get right game. The Bears didn't have to make it, but obviously it did. So you can't give, an experienced quarterback like Russell Wilson a lot of time and just being able to just go through his reads, go to whoever he wants to go, whether it's Judy, Cortland Sutton, and just kind of again, distribute, because that's exactly how you're going to get blown out again at home at Soldier Field. And unless the Bears are going to change up their ways defensively, like letting Russ cook, it almost seems like it's going to be inevitable. But, for some reason I have it's not confidence. Maybe I'm just slightly confused, thinking that the Bears are going to do something different in this game to change it up defensively and give Russ more to think about, because they didn't do that for Patrick Mahomes. It was way too easy to where he can just see pre-snap, post-snap, same exact coverage. Mm-hmm. Whatever he was seeing, he was also seeing it after the snap. So the Bears just have to, again, maybe even it's on their defensive front, like you're doing more twists, more games, you're bringing someone off the edge, whatever it could be, you got to get Russell Wilson out of his rhythm. If not, I think it could end up very poorly for the Bears defense.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we do some zone match. Maybe we do some inverts, right? Drop the safeties down. You send the corners back. Something. Just give them something else to look at. One more advocate for some man coverage, please, Coach Eberflus. Thank you. Mm-hmm. And do it one more time. So my final key, Nick, you don't want Russ to cook. So I just wanted to piggyback off you. Don't let the running backs cook either. All right? Like, they're also a unit that has me a little bit worried, because the Bears, they haven't been able to win. I talked about for the offense, win the line of scrimmage. The defense hasn't really been able to win the line of scrimmage this year. They've given up 121 yards on the ground per game. They allowed over 150 last week, and I've talked about it over the last couple of weeks with the Bears' inability to stop the run, despite just average numbers, the type of runs that they allow, how they've been killing this defense, killing opportunities to get off the field. And guess what, Nick? It happened last week too. A gain of 9 on 2nd and 8 on the ground. First down, move the chains. That shouldn't happen. An 18-yard run on first down. That shouldn't happen. A 10-yard gain on a quick ball to running back into the flat. You should probably make those tackles, and that shouldn't happen either. So regardless, those issues are still popping up here for the Bears. The Broncos, they average less than 100 yards per game on the ground. Would be a good week to not allow, like you said, not allow Russ to cook. It's not now a good time to allow those running backs to figure things out and start setting some season highs. Both Pirine and Williams are both very good backs out of the backfield too, catching 90% of their targets for 110 yards this year combined. Both are in the top 30 of running backs, with Pirine in the top 10 of receiving backs so far this year. So that's giving me, Nick, flashbacks of Aaron Jones in the second half of that Bears game, just destroying TJ Edwards and this Bears defense. So I expect the Broncos to get the ball up to their backs as receivers, just like they have all year, especially, one more time we'll say it, if the Bears sit back in their comfy, soft zone, these running backs, maybe Russell Cook and these running backs will eat. Maybe that's how it's going to shake out.
It seems like a really good combo there for the Broncos offense. They want to get things going. You cook, they eat, and they win. That could definitely be a possibility.
It could be. But the Bears, they just need to not allow it to be a thing. But as long as they just allow it to be reality until they want to change the reality, change the type of team they are, because I still think this team is talented. And I said that after the week 1 loss, where like, man, we saw all this talent come in. Why aren't we tapping into it? And we're now entering week 4, and I still have the same question. And the answer always goes back to coaching and mindset, at least for me. So the Bears have an opportunity to figure it out here, but so do the Broncos. And I don't know if I trust the Bears to be the team to figure it out themselves. But that's it for our keys here on the defense. We're going to take another timeout. And then on the flip side of this break, we're going to give you our X factors, tell you who has the edge, play some over under, bold predictions. A lot of good things here right after this break. And Nick, I'll go to you.
Yeah, so with everything going on right now, whether you want to go to football games, concerts, baseball, Connor Bedard, hockey, you need to check out the Game Time app. And because look, you're buying your tickets to your favorite events, it shouldn't be stressful, and Game Time helps that whole process. You lose the stress and you get to go to these games. But Game Time is a fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater near you, with killer deals on last minute tickets and their best price guarantee. You can stop stressing over the tickets and just start getting hyped up for the fun you'll have at whatever event you're going to. And here are just some of the things I like about the Game Time app: flash deals and last minute tickets, easy to find and buy tickets for every kind of event in your area. You also get to see the image of your seat, which is always cool, but lowest price guarantee. And you can never go wrong when you have all those things with the Game Time app. And if you're watching the CHGO Bears podcast, if you want to go to the Broncos Bears game, you should also just go to the CHGO Bears tailgate that we have. But you'll hear more about that in a little bit. But there are definitely prices, and you can snag a flash deal on all the great seats that you'll have at this glorious game that will happen on Sunday at Soldier Field. But again, forget about planning months in advance. Game Time has deals on tickets right up to the day of the event. Get exclusive, again, those flash deals like you were just seeing if you're watching the podcast here, for football, basketball, baseball, concerts, comedy, theater near you. And the Game Time guarantee means you'll always get the best price. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. And here's the most important part: you have to download that Game Time app, create an account, and then use the code CHGO for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHGO for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed.
Good stuff there, Nick. This is when I want to just take a moment and say thank you to all the diehards out there listening to us right now, whether it's live here on YouTube or on the podcast replay. I just want to say thank you on behalf of everyone here at CHGO for supporting us by signing up to be a CHGO diehard. And of course, you're also helping yourself. You get yourself 20% off all merch all the time, even when we're running sales. 20% off all of our events, like that tailgate that we have coming up here on Sunday morning before this game, and so much more. You get access to our premium written content on the website, whether that's Carms, Grades, Hogs, Bears, things, a lot of really good benefits of becoming a diehard. So if you're not yet, now's a perfect opportunity to go to allchgo.com/diehard. It gives you even more reasons to sign up there on the page. And then from there, you immediately get a free shirt as soon as you sign up from the CHGO locker, which, by the way, we have that new Midway collection, which is awesome. A lot of new Bears merch over on the CHGO Locker. You can get a free shirt as soon as you sign up, a free shirt every single year once you renew that membership. And again, all those amazing discounts all of the time. So thanks for everyone who's already a diehard, and I hope to welcome in new diehards throughout, the rest of this weekend, and of course, honestly, forever. So feel free to sign up, become a diehard here today, and check out chgolocker.com too for that brand new line that we dropped a few weeks ago, and definitely stock up on all of our CHGO, our dope merch that we have over there in that locker. All right, Will DeWitt, Nicholas Moreano here, CHGO Bears Podcast, giving you our in-depth game preview for this Bears-Broncos game. We went through all of the keys on both sides of the ball, and now it's time to figure out what's the X factor, what can make a difference in this game. So we've done offense, we've done defense. Nick, what is your X factor here for Week 4?
Yeah, simply my X factor for Week 4, Bears Broncos, is special teams, and this can be throughout the entirety. This for both sides here, because you have Marvin Mims over there. Well, you're seeing how yards per completion he was getting. Well, he's also a pretty damn good returner.
Yep.
So, and he took one back last week against the Dolphins. Again, the game was basically over. Maybe the Dolphins were lackadaisical, whatever it is. Still, you have to respect that. Now it's on film. He can take one back to the house, but also, there was a key play in that Bears-Chiefs game. It would not have changed the result. I'm telling you that right now. But Jalen Jones had an opportunity to pin the Chiefs deep in their own territory off of a punt, and the ball goes right between his legs. It would have been easily inside the 5, but instead the Chiefs get the ball back, in more favorable territory, because you can't execute. So little things like that. Look, the Bears need to literally do everything right to win a football game. So that includes special teams. You can't give the Broncos better field position because you're not covering punts or kicks or pinning them deep in their own territory. So it's simple things like that can easily, influence a game, how it goes. And especially between two bad teams, you really just need to be able to just be on your P's and Q's, and that goes for special teams as well.
Awesome. Sorry if I look perplexed. I have a missed call from Waukegan, Illinois, and I thought you were trying to call me or something. Weird, ain't it?
That is weird, but I have my phone right here, Will. So no calls from this.
You're in my contacts. It would have been.
That's true.
It would have showed your name in your photo, but I was just like, out of all the places in the world to get like a spam call, Waukegan, Illinois, your hometown, your stomping ground. So that was interesting timing, to say the least. But let's get into my X factor here, and I agree with you. Special teams, that return game can be huge. My X factor, simple yet ultra important: coaching. And I know that the Broncos, aren't playing up to snuff, and they're coming off a very, very embarrassing loss to the Dolphins. But Nick, something tells me, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, and if I am wrong, please tell me why. But something tells me that Sean Payton is going to give his guys more refocused and more pissed off and more ready to kind of bring out the Listerine that we talked about a few weeks ago and get that sour taste out of their mouths than Matt Eberflus has been able to do with this Chicago Bears team through all of the losses, especially that embarrassing one against the Chiefs here. So when it comes to this overall preparedness, readiness, in-game adjustments, those halftime adjustments, being willing to break out of your status quo to show teams something a little bit different on both sides of the ball, I feel like the Broncos are going to be more equipped and more ready to do that than the Bears. And I think that could be the difference between winning and losing this game. It just comes down to like the head guy in charge.
Well, that's a great point. And you know what? Look how both those coaches reacted after these embarrassing losses. Eberflus mentioned early on, well, we were able to score points off the 2 turnovers we created late in the game.
Boy.
Highlights these little, again, positives in his eyes. Sean Payton was pissed. That was a historic loss. It's the mindset of how you approach these things that is completely different by these two organizations that tells me, Sean Payton probably going to have his team more prepared than Matt Eberflus, because, again, I think probably a lot of people in this chat have put in here, where's the accountability? Shouldn't you losing by 31 and the game was over in the first half, sit with you the wrong way? It should. And again, they just approach it very differently. Obviously, the track record for Sean Payton, obviously a lot better than what Matt Eberflus has ever done in the NFL at this point as a head coach. But just how they approached it in their post-game press conference, I completely agree with you there, Will.
Man, and it's so sad too. So like I was watching last week's Bears game with my brother who was down for the weekend, and we watched the Ravens game first. He's been a Ravens fan for over a decade, and that was a tough loss for him against the Colts. And then the Bears game came on. I was like, all right, let's sit down, and now you can see how bad things can get. And it was like the end of the first quarter, and he's looking at me like, how do you stomach watching these games every week? And I had mentioned like, well, I watch it like 2 or 3 times a week too, man. And he's like,
Yeah.
why do you do that to yourself? He's like, it made his chest hurt, and he's not even a Bears fan. Like, that is just, if that doesn't tell you something, I don't know what else could. But yeah, Nick, I think special teams and as an X factor, and same thing with coaching, could be huge here to kind of sway the difference of a win and a loss for the Bears against the Broncos here on Sunday. But we'll move on from X factors. We'll play who has the edge, and I'm going first here this week. I have the Bears passing attack. I don't know if I can call it that versus that Broncos. I'm sorry, it's true. Pass defense. So the Broncos are easily going to have this one here for me. And it's not even who the Broncos are. It's really who the Bears are. 31st in passing yards per game, 30th in completions per game, 30th in sacks allowed, 30th in passer rating. And even though the Broncos just got obliterated, I just still have deep reservations about the Bears' ineffectiveness and inability to find any rhythm, any success, anything they can build on in this passing game. So again, this is more about the Bears' lack of ability than the Broncos defense themselves, which is a damning statement, but I think it's very much true. So for me, Broncos have the edge here with the Bears passing attack. We'll go over to you, Nick. Bears running game versus that Broncos run defense.
Yeah, this one was tricky for me, but I am going to pick the Bears in this category, Will.
Wow.
And there were some things even in that Chiefs game. I know 31 point, like it looks terrible, but they were having a little bit some success on the ground until they just you couldn't go to it anymore when you're down so many points. But Cole Kmet spoke in the locker room today, and he was asked what would it mean for the offense if the unit can run the ball more steadily. And here's a quote. I think that's big. Look, we were the number 1 rushing team last year. There's no reason that it can't still be a big part of our arsenal in the game. So I think it always starts with the run and makes everything else a lot easier. I think establishing our physicality up front is big and can help us get to a fast start this game. I agree with that. I do agree that they need to run the football more. I want to see more Roschon Johnson. I like how he runs the ball and, just staying on his track maybe a little bit more. But I think that if you can just be successful or even commit to it for the entirety of a game, it can open things up for this offense. So maybe very optimistically, I'm picking the Bears to have the edge in this category.
I'm just happy for the first time. And it took us 4 weeks, but it's not a clean sweep. Week 1 was all Bears, Bears, Bears. Our optimism, man, it was flowing out of the cup. And then pessimism really started to set in for the opponents. But I know the Broncos aren't as talented as the other 2 teams that we faced since week 1. So I'm glad the Bears have one. Maybe they'll have 2. We still have the defense to go here. I have the Broncos rushing attack versus that Bears run defense. Just like the Bears offense, Nick, just due to the lack of any run defense from the Bears so far. And again, it's not the amount of yards per game, which is the one that a lot of people look at. To me, it's all about those runs on first and second down that just either get you in second and short or you're already moving the chains. And if you can't stop that, you're going to have a really hard time getting off the field. So Broncos are going to have this edge here for me, which leaves you with the Broncos pass attack versus that Bears pass defense. Will Russ actually cook?
He definitely will actually cook. He will cook, Will. And we don't know who's going to actually be in the secondary for this Bears defense at this point. But, you just look at the lack of pass rush from the Bears. You look at Russell Wilson's actually been playing pretty decent football, even though they're 0-3. And then you look at some of the weapons that they have. So I'm giving this one to the Broncos. So it wasn't a clean sweep, but the Bears are down 3-1.
Yes, they are. Oh, which, you know what? I'll take it. It's a little different. And at the end of the day, the Bears have to prove it to us a lot before they can start really having the edge here against most teams in the NFL, maybe all teams. in the National Football League. But let's go ahead and let's play some over under here. I'm not even going to do the whole let's make a parlay thing. I don't want to waste your money this week, Nick.
I didn't place the bet, Will, so we're all good.
Well, my screenshot cut off half the bet, so that was my bad anyway. But let's go ahead and start with some passing props. Russell Wilson, his touchdown line is at over under 1.5.
Yeah, we're going on the over on that one.
What about Wilson's passing yards over under 239.5?
The Bears keep playing the same defense. Yeah, it's going to be over on that as well.
All right, what about Justin Fields? His touchdown passes is 0.5. Can he get his one?
I think he can. Will. This defense is not very good for the Broncos, so I'll take the over on 0.5 passing touchdowns for Justin Fields.
Sounds good. I like this new one, Nick. I've never seen this one before here in DraftKings. Pass plus rush yards for one player. So you get total yards, at least here for Justin Fields. So his passing and running combined, they have set at 249.5 for Justin Fields. That seems high.
Yeah, it does seem high. But again, when you look at the previous three defenses the Bears have faced, they're actually, well, I guess we saw Green Bay get annihilated against Detroit last night, but they're decent. They're good. I'm taking the under on that mark, though, the passing and rushing for Justin Fields.
All right. What about Khalil Herbert over under 40.5 on the ground?
I'll take the under on that. I think that we're just seeing more Roschon Johnson being put into the equation, so I'll take the under.
All right. What about Javonte Williams over under 52.5 on the ground?
We'll go under on that. I'll go under.
No.
Taking the over.
No. All right. What about DJ Moore over under 45.5?
They target him. Yeah, I think easily be over. I'll take over.
All right. And we'll do one more. Cortland Sutton over under 56.5 yards.
We'll go the over there on the good old Cortland Sutton. Maybe he just has to hang on to the football.
There you go. All right. So we played some over-unders. Let's go ahead. Do you want to take the last break now and then do like our predictions?
Yeah. We were just talking about all these over-unders and, you got to do so with DraftKings because football's more fun, you guys, when you're actually in the action. So download the app now and sign up with the code CHGO. New customers can bet just $5 and to get $200 instantly in bonus bets, and only on DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. And remember, use that code CHGO, and of course, the crown can be yours if you're, maybe listening to us and wanting to place these bets. But also, the Bears need to come to play in this game too for any of this to happen. But of course, if you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino Resort KS, licensed partner Golden Nugget, Lake Charles, LA, 21 over, age varies by jurisdiction, void in ONT. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/football terms for eligibility, terms and responsible gaming resource. Bonus bets expire again 7 days after issuance. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply.
Damn, you have gotten that disclaimer down.
Just gotta just follow every line and make sure my eyes don't divert or anything, because that could really screw you up. But yes, make sure you have all of that into account as you're making all these amazing sports bets.
That would not have been my bold prediction, by the way, of you rambling through that disclaimer as smoothly as you did. It's not a knock on you. It's literally like that's a tough cookie to chew, man. I've done it, as we know, a few times too. It's you got to do the legal things too, which all makes sense. But let's get into these Bears bold predictions. I actually have 3 just for fun because you talked about football's fun and the Bears need to make it more fun. So I'm going to try. So my first one's a joke. I put both teams lose. That's bold, right? Both these teams, maybe they both deserve it. But then my next 2 are kind of real. Chase Claypool makes 1 contested catch is a bold prediction, Nick. Did you know he's 0 for 4 on contested catch opportunities this year, and he's only one of 2 wide receivers in a league with 4 or more chances that still have 0 contested catches.
It does not surprise me because of everything that is involving Chase Claypool right now, but it's a bold prediction there, Will. I like the boldness on the Chase. I almost put Chase Claypool in my bold prediction, but I'm glad that you did there.
And then my second one is probably a little bit more extra bold, but I have the Bears will have 2 100-yard rushers in this game. I mean, the Broncos gave up 350 on the ground last week. And again, I don't expect the Bears to get 350, but maybe they can get to 200. They did it a couple times last year. Justin Fields and Khalil Herbert are the guys. I wanted to put Rojo, but I kind of didn't want to put anything on him this week. I think last week I said he would be the MVP. So I'm trying to let some pressure off of the rookie. That way he can surprise me. And again, whenever we do things like this, players tend to struggle. So I'm going to let Rojo out of this one just for a week, though. But those are my bold predictions. How about you? What do you got?
Yeah, my bold predictions. Again, bold predictions. We're going out there, you guys. I have Cole Kmet and Darnell Mooney both getting passing touchdowns in this game. I forgot who said. I think it was
receiving
Darnell
touchdowns
Mooney.
or passing.
Receiving touchdown.
I needed to know.
Receiving touchdown. They're gonna get receiving touchdown. I think Cole Kmet is. Nah, never mind. But I'm pretty sure it was Darnell Mooney in one of his press conferences. He said he is most like Cole Kmet, even though he was saying, like, you look at us, obviously we look nothing alike, but we're very compatible. But my bold prediction is that they both reach the end zone in this game. And, again, a bold prediction that would obviously mean 2 passing touchdowns for Justin Fields. And we already know that's a hard reach at this point. So bold prediction, Cole Kmet, Darnell Mooney, both reach the end zone.
Ooh, man, we need some Darnell Mooney. We talked about it a little bit last week in terms of like a little bit MIA. He started last year too in a very similar situation, having a hard time getting acclimated. And I think it took until week 4, if I remember correctly, give or take. That Vikings game was when he finally popped off a little bit for the Bears with that big catch too, that highlight catch down the field.
Yeah, one-hander. I asked Justin Fields on Wednesday, like, what can you do to get Darnell Mooney more involved? And then he was like, well, obviously he knows when he's going to get the ball, but he also said, you guys, the media say, well, DJ Moore needs to get the ball more. Now Darnell needs to get the ball more. He's like, I'm going to distribute it to everybody. And, that's the best case for this Bears offense. But, that was Justin Fields' guy. Like, they're best friends. Justin said when he goes through these dark time or like through adversity, he's talking to Darnell Mooney. So, I would like to see him get more involved. Obviously, everybody more involved. But Mooney's a good guy, and I hope we get to see him actually, get some targets, get some receptions, get some yards. And he's in a contract year, too. So, also all these things that he's probably thinking about as the Bears are 0-3.
Yeah, not a great time for a down year coming off of an injury for Mooney. So hopefully you're right. And last week, one of my keys was more than more. So I was ahead of it. And now we're still on that track here too. But that's our bold predictions. Let's predict who will be the most valuable Bear at the end of the game. And Nick, you go first on this one.
Yeah, I'm really piggybacking off of my bold prediction, I guess, and just me talking about Mooney, but it's going to be Darnell Mooney's the most valuable Bear here. Again, we do these without really picking Justin Fields, but he should be probably back into the consideration now with how everything's been going. But I think Yeah. Darnell Mooney's going to be the most valuable Bear. I think there are going to be some opportunities in the slot. Again, if there is a proper game plan in place, if Justin Fields is actually seeing the field, I think there can be some opportunities for Darnell Mooney to get more involved and to just make plays for this Bears offense. Somebody needs to make freaking plays. I'll say that's Darnell Mooney for this one, and he is my MVP for week 4.
There you go. You want offense? I'll go defense. My MVP, Tremaine Edmonds. I'm going to go with the guy in the middle of this defense underneath for reasons why. I will be very transparent. I got nothing. It's more hope. It's more hope than anything. Yeah. I hope Tremaine Edmonds can make an impact play, whether he gets an interception, a forced fumble, gets in there, is allowed to blitz, and maybe blows up a play in the backfield or a sack, and that negative yardage leads to something good for the defense or maybe the Bears offense due to field position. Whatever it is, it just better not be, I'm going to sit back or I'm coached to just sit back. watch this play happen in front of me, try to go make this tackle, miss the tackle, and watch the guy run for more yards. I hope that's not the case. I hope Tremaine Edmonds can have a really big game. I don't need him to lead the team in tackles. I don't, but I want to see an impact player too, from our biggest free agent acquisition, a player that played at such a high level for the Buffalo Bills ever since he entered this league. I just want to see that player come out here for Chicago, because I still very much believe in Tremaine Edmonds, his skill set, and what he can mean for the Bears for the foreseeable future. I've just been very disappointed with the results here so far. So here's a bounce back game, a get right game for Tremaine Edmonds, at least what I'm hoping for, being the MVP, hopefully, when it's all said and done. All right, MVBs are out of the way. Now we finally get to the big one here of who wins this game. I'll take this one first, just because I don't even know why I want to do this, but Broncos 23, Bears 21. I don't know exactly how to feel about this. Again, the Broncos are a beatable team, but and Nick, you did another great job too of laying out all the reasons to be concerned. I think with our keys and our X factors, for me, it comes down to coaching again. I don't think the Bears have the leg up on coaching here this week. I don't know if they have that any week right now, which is starting to become a bigger concern in my eyes. The offense has too far of a way to go, even against a bad Broncos defense. And I think the Broncos offense is serviceable enough to be able to put up enough points to beat this Bears team here this week. Again, they get into the red zone. The Broncos do more than, I think they're top 10, if I remember my stat correctly, 9th. They get in there the 9th most. And the Bears, once teams are in the red zone, they allow the most touchdowns. So I don't know how else I can buy into the Bears winning here this week, other than them exceeding expectations and playing out their minds a little bit and really just finding answers to a lot of questions. And I don't think enough time has passed for them to find those answers. So for me, Broncos 23, Bears 21, and the Bears start 0-4 in a miserable September, to say the least.
Whew. Yeah, that'd be rough, Will. And it realistically could be the case for this Bears team, how bad they've been playing. But, you said the word hope earlier, just, maybe 2 minutes ago. And that's kind of where I'm at and why I'm going to pick the Bears to win this one, 23-20. It's more so of that than what I've seen on the football field, because if I'm basing it just on, strictly what the Bears have been doing, it's not been good enough. But they feel, and this is the Bears now, that they're close to actually doing something good offensively. I think there are moments where you see, okay, but it just hasn't been consistent. And I will say this is going to be the worst defense the Bears have faced all season. In terms of pressure rate, 20.4% for the Broncos, dead last in the NFL. Worse than the Bears, you guys. That's incredible that the Broncos they're in a league of their own, dead last. So I'm going with the Bears in this one, 23-20. I think we see the best game from Justin Fields this week. Again, yes, you mentioned the Broncos can move the ball, they can score. They absolutely can. I think I put in our game pick article that the Bears defense does the bare minimum to put them in a position to actually win this game. So 23-20, go with the Bears here. I just feel like this 13-game losing streak has to end. And like I said earlier, if it's not now, God, I don't know when the Bears team will win a game. If it's not this game at Soldier Field, you just got your ass whooped in Arrowhead. There's no way you can come out flat like you did against the Green Bay Packers in the home opener. There's no way, right? Right? Well, again, maybe I'm basing this off of hope. I'm delusional. It could be all these things. But again, a close game, 23-20, go with the Bears.
No, I understand it. And by the way, I just want to say I'm proud of you for doing that. I really am. I wanted to. I thought, I'm going to say it long and hard about giving the Bears the win here in my prediction, but I'm trying to be more with my brain than my heart.
Yep.
You know why? Because the Bears broke my heart. My heart's broken. I can't even think with it right now. So I only have one tool left, which is my brain. And the brain says, good luck with that. So we both did our predictions. I had the Bears losing by only 2. You had the Bears winning by, I think you said 23-20, so it would have been 3.
Mm-hmm.
Which, by the way, both of us saying 23 is the highest score is weird because we did that
Mm-hmm.
independently, and I had no idea. That makes sense why your face did that look when I said my score. But let's do our confidence meter here real quick for the overall game between these two teams. And I was sitting at a 5. You were sitting at a 5.2, which puts us at a 5.1, which means it's possible. Like, they can win. I love this new confidence meter, by the way. Joey did a great job.
Yeah, it looks awesome. Again, Joey's a goat at making these graphics, but that's where we're at. Like, if it's the same football team that has played the last 3 weeks, and it very well could be, all the coaching doesn't make a difference. The details are still not there. The Bears can easily get blown out in this game, or to maybe some people surprised they can find a way to, have the lead in the fourth quarter and hold on to a victory. This Bears team has just been so disappointing.
Mm-hmm.
And I really just hope that the disappointment ends on Sunday. Maybe again, that's what I just want to see too. I haven't covered a locker room that's won a game since I was last in New England. Like, that is so terrible. My Uber driver from Arrowhead, real quickly, was asking me, like, "Oh, you cover the Bears?" Yeah, I get to go to the games and stuff. He's like, "Is it better to cover a team that's winning or losing?" And I said, really quickly, winning, no doubt about it. Because when you go and cover a losing locker room, or a team that just has not found its way, nobody wants to talk. Nobody wants to really talk about an ass whooping. Nobody, like, there's no benefit to it. So I would so rather see a team that somehow wins a game, and at least you have that to talk about, and highlight some of the positives, as opposed to all this negative things that have been going on with this football team the last week that they had. So come on, Chicago Bears, do something, please.
It's the stick meme. Do something. But now I'm with you, Nick. Having a different vibe around this team would be so nice for so many different reasons. And in addition to getting to cover the team, in the locker room, I think there for one win last year, and that was so much fun. And then the rest of my opportunities was just like, man, it's somber, it's quiet. You can just feel the gravity of the situation in the room, and it would be nice to feel the opposite of that sometimes. Ideally, more times than not, but we have a lot of work in order to get there. And as the comment from our own account says, come to the tailgate this weekend. Links in the description here below. You get all you can eat, all you can drink, Goose Island. Our friends from DNVR, it's going to be over here as well. So much going on. It's the best place to really party before this Bears game. And so we would love for you to come out with us, hang out at the tailgate before this game. Even if you're not going to the game, feel free to come by and just hang out at this tailgate. To get tickets, links in the description here on YouTube and your podcast player. Nick, I think you said it pretty well, unless you had any final thoughts before I wrapped it up.
No, that's all I got. Let's see if the Bears can change and make some type of changes on Sunday, Will. That's how I'll leave it. Sounds reasonable to me, and hopefully they find answers to those questions. But that's going to do it for both of us here today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Before you leave, give this video a thumbs up. We would really appreciate it. Thanks for everybody in the live chat throughout the entirety of this episode. You guys are always super engaged, and it just really makes hosting this show a lot more fun. So just thank you so much for your participation over the last hour and 15 minutes. But that's going to do it for us for now. We'll see you on Sunday for this Bears game. We'll see everyone in the morning for the tailgate. See you all for our pregame, postgame, all the coverage you come to expect here from CHGO Bears. But until next time, bear down, Chicago.